Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, starting with the DXY. We have two scenarios here. We can either get the A, B, and a C down in here, or this is the A, B, C here, and that's the end. At this stage, we still can't rule out this larger running flat here. We got 1, 2, 3 down. 1, 2, 3 as a correction, as a running, and this still can turn into an expanding flat and we still get that larger C down. So at this stage, we're really looking for this sell. If we get a set up on the lower time frames, we can look for the sell for this larger C down, or at minimum a correction in here. For more upside, we may get the 5 upside as the first scenario. So we're really only looking for a sell for either correction or this A, B, C down. On the H4, we are getting bearish divergence overall. We sort of got 5 up here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had that bull hidden in here. We got that high. It's still looking bullish. There's nothing to suggest this is over yet, and even on the H1 it's still looking rather bullish. Sort of got 1, 2, 3 up in here, so you get 1, 2, 3, go up and break the top for a flat. So there still is no bearish setup, and I'm only looking for bearish setups at this stage. If you're looking to buy these flats at the top of the market, you have to be very careful. Ideally, you're waiting for the larger correction on the daily, like I showed, a correction before you buy. Ideally, I'd like to see, this play out, get a high, more bearish divergence, and a nice impulse down and a sell set up, and then we can look for that larger C down on the daily, or it just turns into 5 as a correction. If I just go over that quickly again. So on the daily, we're just looking for only shorts. We're looking for either a correction in here for more upside, or the A, B, C. So either way, we're just looking for shorts, even if it's a correction. We'll find out if this is corrective or not when this plays out, when the price action, when we get more data. AU on the daily. This one, I'm only looking for buys, just looking for this C up. We're looking for this A, B, C. I have to go down onto the lower time frames to see what we're getting in here. Whether we're getting a buy setup. Excuse me. At this stage, it's still looking very much bearish in here. For more downside, we are starting to get that bullish divergence. So ideally, it's very risky to be scalping these. You can do it, but it becomes risky once you get the bullish divergence. But it is looking very bearish. You could scalp it on the lower time frames if you want. I'm more interested in getting another one down here, and we get the bullish divergence, nice impulse up, correction or a flag, and then we can buy. Till that really happens, there's not much there. EU on the daily, very similar. We're looking for that larger C up. Looks like I've taken the arrow off. But we're looking for that A, B, C. This still can turn into an expanding flat. We've got to have a look on the lower time frames to see what's going on in here, if this is over or not. But I'm more interested in the buys up to the, to get that C up. H4, we are getting bullish divergence. So it's very similar to AU. I'm really only interested in the buys, and even if it just turns in like DXY, even if it just turns into a correction in here for a sell, at this stage in the game, I'm only really looking for a buy. Even if it does turn into a correction, ideally it turns into the largest C up on the daily. But yeah, and I mean, this is looking like more downside as well. We got like 1, 2, 3 in here. You get 1, 2, 3, and then you get like 1, 2, 3. So I wouldn't be surprised if this does break the low. And then I'd like to see a nice impulse up, a flag or a correction to buy. I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for this impulse, correction or flag, and then I can look for a buy setup, going off your strategy that you use. GU on the daily. If you're going to sell something, you'd be looking to sell the GU out of the majors, because this one we've already got that A, B, C. We bounced clean off that trend line. There is a bull hidden here. I can't really go into that too much, but I'm not really looking for that bull hidden. We have all this bearish divergence in here. So I'm only really looking for sells, but if you're looking for the sell, you would have, well, it's too late to be selling now. We got this A, B, and we'll get that C down to that 100 fib. And then, we'll see what happens. If it gives us an impulse up and a buy setup, well, we can buy, possibly to go and break that top, because we'll have 3 down. But it's really a waiting game in this now. If you're not in it, you would have been getting in on these to get this C down. To get in it now would be getting risky, because yes, we do have the bullish divergence. We have all this bullish divergence on the H1, so it gets risky to buy. That gets risky to sell, sorry. This will come to an end. This wave, it's looking like it'll come to an end. And if you're scalping, you're really only just scalping, because it will come down here, break the low, and then take you out. Come down, break the low, and it can just keep on doing this, down to the 100 fib, or if it keeps on going. So it becomes risky to scalp. NU on the daily, very similar to AU. We're looking for this C up, looking for this A, B, C. So I'm only looking for a buys. This one here, we did lose the bullish divergence in here, but it doesn't really matter. We still got the 1, 2, 3 down. H4, we're getting bullish divergence. So again, like the others, it becomes risky. I mean, these are still looking very much bearish. So if you're scalping, you just want to get in and get out. So we are getting bullish divergence on the H4. There's not much on the H1. This is looking bearish. This can turn more complex, like as an A, B, C, as a flat in the middle, and then you get an A, B, C before it falls over. So if you are looking to scalp, you want to take into consideration all the possible structures it could be before getting into a trade. GU on the daily, sorry, GY on the daily. This one here is still looking very much bullish up the top here. We're looking at that WX. We're in this wave Y. Then we'll be looking for an X2 and a Z up. We're still got this WXY. I'm sort of looking at some sort of a flat here before we get a Z up, this Z here, before we get the larger correction and then the larger Z up. This is still looking very much bullish. Really only looking for sells. You know, H4 we got that WXY, and then we get a larger correction. We got a larger correction in here. So we sort of got an A, B, C in here. So this is, I dare say, this correction here is going to become quite complex. And then we get an A, B, C. Then we get an A, B, C before we get more upside A, B, C. So I'm looking at this possible structure in here as the correction. So we get another one up here. And we get an A, B, C. A, B, C to complete the correction, and then we get the larger A, B, C. So at this stage, it becomes very risky. And again, you know, if this correction plays out and we get a buy set up, well, only then would I look for the buy. Other than that, you know, I'm more interested in the sell for the larger correction, because we'd be looking for a correction a similar size to this over here when that's finished, when this wave Y is finished. So yeah, you're buying at the top of the market and there's bearish divergence, so you know, very risky. UI on the daily, we got that A, B, C. We're right at that 100 fib now. Still looking for that larger A, B, C. So we'll have to see if we get a sell set up in here. Like GU, there is no sell set up on it at this stage. H4, we're getting all the bearish divergence. So again, if you're buying up the top here, these flats, you know, you want to be at break even at the top, and you're just scalping. The H1, there isn't much at all. It's a flat. We got like 1, 2, 3 up, just breaking the top, and then we get 1, 2, 3 as the expanding flat correction, and then we get an A, B, C. So, you know, if you wanted to go down to the lower time frames, you get a little correction in here where you could look for scalps, but again, they're dangerous at this height. USD CAD. We got this like W, X, Y, looking at this X2, and we get a Z up. Ideally, we do get this Z up to the targets, the 123.6 and the 161.8, or at least go and break this top. Or else this is going to be a much larger correction. As you can see, if you've been following me for a while, you know, there is a potential A, B, C in here as a running, well, it's an expanding flat now. If it does play out and we get an A, B, C, some sort of a larger correction, ideally it does go up and break the top on the lower time frames. I'm only looking for buys, but I need to wait for a correction. We got the 5 up on the H4. We got that W, X, Y, X2, and we got the Z up. Here's a flat in here. So we have all that bearish divergence, and we've got 5 up. Ideally, you know, you'd be looking for a sell, 50 fib retrace. If it looks corrective in here, well, then we can buy. But at this stage, it's more of a sell, and it's a risky sell too, because you're selling into a correction. But this is looking like a flat here as well. You know, very choppy wave breaking the top, and then you get an A, B, C. So I wouldn't be surprised if this does go up, break the top as an A, B, C. You'd have to go down onto the lower time frames to see what's happening in here, if you're getting a buy or not. the Swissy, I mean, this has given us a B, C here, and we have that bullish divergence, like I've said, for a very long time. Problem was, this is quite choppy. Ideally it does come up, break this top, give us a correction, and then we can all jump into a longer term buy. H4, we've already got the bearish divergence, so again, it becomes very risky to buy. It's just scalping if you're buying. We've got an A, B, C, possibly up to that 100 fib. So if you are looking to buy a scalp, I'd be first targeting that 100 fib and the 161.8 as your second target. This may turn motive, then we get a WXY, X2 and a Z up. H1, again, as like the others, we're getting this like correction 1, 2, 3 in here. 1. So we're looking for a wave Z up. We get a WXY, X2 and a Z up. So if you're buying this, you'll have to get it to break even at the break of the top. And again, you'll have to see if there's a trade in here. There may be a bear hidden, there isn't a bear hidden. I dare say we'll get a bull hidden. We got some sort of a WXY, get an X2 and a Z up. I dare say in here, we got that flat there. And we got 1, 2, we'll get possibly a 3 down here, and this may be quite deep as an ending diagonal. And we'll get a bull hidden in here. If we get the bull hidden in here and you get a buy set up, well, then you can definitely buy. You want to be a break even at the break of that top there, and you're mainly just scalping. You'd definitely have to wait for a nice buy setup after you get the bull hidden if you're going to trade this. EG on the daily. So nothing's really changed. We have broken the low, which is nice, and we've got that bullish divergence. Any buy setup you get, definitely want to look for buy. We've got that WXY, X2 and a Z down. And we have that bullish divergence. So if you get any buy setup, probably would be worth taking the risk. You'd be looking for at least an A, B, C. You're getting a little flat in here on the lower time frames, I dare say, to get into the trade. You'd be wanting to get another one down in here. You need 3 down, at least 3 down. And then if you get the buy set up, look for the buy. But yeah, again, you need those 3 down and then a buy set up to buy. I go over all this in my course on how to get into these trades with a high probability of playing out, or at least getting it to break even in the strategy that I teach. WTI. So there's just one wave on the daily. So really, we'll be looking for a correction, and then, we'd all want to be jumping into a buy. But we need to wait for that correction. On the H4, this is where it becomes interesting. We've lost all the bearish divergence. There's no bearish divergence in this wave Z. Well, it wasn't really a wave Z. This was a larger correction. We didn't get a large, similar size correction in here like I was looking for. So sort of looking for an A, B, C in here, and then we get an A, B, C, filling in that time factor, and then go, it went early. But like I mentioned, you know, we don't have any bearish divergence, so I'll be looking for a larger correction and then more upside. The H1, you can see what's happening here. You more than likely get a buy set up. We got an A, B, C, probably get an A, B, get another one down in here, and then if you get a buy set up on the lower time frames, well, you could look to buy as an A, B, C. Yeah, it's more of a scalp. Gold, like I've mentioned, there's quite a few different scenarios here on gold at the moment, because we got 1, 2, 3, and we got this impulse here, impulse down, and an impulse up. So this can turn quite complex, and we get a really large correction in here. This may be an A, B, C in here, and then you get an A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C as a large correction before we get the A, B, C. At this stage, if I just go down up to the weekly, if we look at here, we've already completed that wave Z. We've got that W, X, Y, X2, and we're still in this wave Z. It's broken the top, so it can be completed any time, but at this stage, there is still chance that we get up to that 123.6, the first target, and the 161.8, the second target. I am still rather bullish on this. Whether this is going to turn into a larger correction or not, that's the thing. It's becoming quite complex because we have all these impulses. We have impulse, 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 and it's only now that we're getting this correction. So again, it can turn very complex. Get an A, B, C, A, B, C as a flat, and then the A, B, C up to the targets. On the H4, we had a bear hidden. I've mentioned this the last couple of weeks, actually. You know, we got that bear hidden in here, so this can come down and break that low. And again, it's looking bearish. We're getting a bearish sort of a setup in here. So, you know, whether this turns into an A, a B, and a C, and then we get A, B, C, we'll have to wait on the sideline for the buy. There's no buy set up on it for that buy. That's why I'm thinking it's going to turn more complex, this whole structure, that whole structure on the daily. On the H1, you see what's happening in here. It's giving a bearish setup. It's looking very bearish, and even on the H1, we have a bear hidden here. So I wouldn't be surprised if this at least goes and breaks that low. If you get a sell set up on the lower time frame, you know, you could scalp it, but yeah, it's really only a scalp. Looking at silver on the daily, this one's quite complex. Very similar to gold. We got that W, X, Y, X2, and the Z up. We lost all that bullish divergence, so I'm just looking for a larger correction in here and more upside. It's what correction we're getting in here. We got like an impulse, impulse, impulse. So at this stage, I wouldn't be trading this. We're getting 4 impulses in a row now. So, like I said last week, I dare say this will turn into a correction. We'll get a correction and we'll get 1, 2, 3 in here. And then we get 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we get 1, 2, 3 as a large correction after the 5 up, and then we go and break the top. So I dare say this is going to become very complex, and at this stage you can't really, as soon as you try and sell this with a scalp on the lower time frames, it'll take you out. Like I mentioned, I dare say we will get a correction in here. You need to wait for this correction, and more than likely it's just going to be an A, B, C, and then we get the A, B, C. So you can scalp all this structure if you if you got the knowledge. But yeah, it's if you're new to trading, I would be staying out of it until at least you get a correction in here, and I dare say we will get a correction in here for at least 1, 2, 3. Bitcoin on the daily. So I believe this flat that I've been looking at for a very long time, A, B, extended wave, C, has played out as that expanding flat like I've been looking at for a very long time. I dare say that's over, and we're coming down to at least break this low here. The problem is with Bitcoin is we'll get a correction in here, and this could take a long time, this correction. Bitcoin sits in corrections for a very long time. And even up here, it was decided, we didn't know whether to buy or sell. It was more bullish, but then it just fell over. It stays sideways for a very long time, this pair. So we need to be very careful selling at this stage. This was during the week, a little buy setup, and this is the problem. There's a little buy set up in here for an A, B, C, just as a scalp in the room there, and that's a problem. It comes straight back down because this is going to be a large correction and can be very choppy. It's difficult to buy or sell in a correction because this is what happens. It goes and it comes straight back. If you're not scalping it, it just takes you out of break even all the time, or even may come down and take you out at a loss. We sort of got 1, 2, 3 here now. So if you do get it's risky because we're in a correction. But if you do get a correction in here on the lower time frames, if I just go down to the H1, you can sell this. We got a nice impulse down. 1, 2, 3 correction, impulse down, and if you get a correction in here, you can look for the sell just to scalp it. You definitely want to be at break even at the break of this low. It may fall over from here and go down and break the low on the daily, like we're looking for. So yeah, it may be worth risking because the setup is getting there. We got that 1, 2, 3 impulse correction. We get an impulse, but again, this can turn just an A, B, C, and then it just can go on and on and on. The correction, and Bitcoin is very much like that. It just stays flat. This is a good example here. It just stays flat for a very long time. You have to be a reasonably experienced trader to be able to trade this Bitcoin. S&P 500. So we're waiting for this correction. Similar time factor as this. We're looking at that W, X, Y, X2, and then we get that Z up. Waiting for that time factor. This is looking like it's bullish at this stage. And you can buy this. We got possible flat in there. May not be finished in here, but I'm looking at an A, B, get a C down in here, and then you get an A, B, C before we get an A, B, C. as the larger correction. And then if we get a buy set up, well, then we don't want to miss that one. At this stage, it is still looking rather bullish in here, but I am looking at this as a possible flat. May give us one more down to complete this wave in here. And then if you got a buy set up, you could look for the buy. If I just go down to the H1. So you can see this is looking rather bearish. But if you get any bullish setup, you definitely can look for it as well, because this may be complete here. I go into this, how to get into these trades, in my room. I can't really go into this, on YouTube, how we get into these structures, with these, after these flats. It's more for the group, but this is looking rather bearish in here. I'll be looking for another one down, giving us a bullish divergence, and then any buy set up on the lower time frames, you can look for the buy. AU 200. This one's really tricky as well. Looking at an A, B, C to finish off this B, and then we get the larger C up. A, B, C. At this stage, you can't really trade it. If anything, if you are trading it, you're looking, when we're, like last week I said, we have to be very careful, because we got 1, 2, 3 down, and then we get a bear hidden. We got a bear hidden there. So I said, you got to be very careful to buy this. Ideally, it goes up and breaks this top and then gives you the correction to buy. And that's why you have to be careful of these hidden divergences, because they do play out. And if they don't play out, they at least give you a very deep pullback, to this impulse here. And most of the time they do play out and go and break the low. So, that's why these are very important. And I go over all these hidden divergences in the course, and how we trade these. I dare say once we get this low broken, we'll start to get the bullish divergence. And it's really difficult now, because you really need to get on in the first one if you're looking for the hidden divergence. So you're really staying out of the market at this stage. On the H1, you could look for a WXY. If you get an X2 here, a bear hidden, and then a sell set up, you could look to trade it as the wave 5. As a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or WXYZ, whichever way you look at it. The FTSE on the daily. This is quite messy as well. I think this one's complete. Like I said last week, we got that like 1, 2, 3 in here, and then we got 1, 2, 3 finishing off this correction. So we're looking for a buy for the A, B, C, and then we'll be looking for a sell A, B, C. So this one's looking rather bullish still. So this probably a lot better to be buying this than AU 200. At this stage here, this has the bear hidden as well, like AU. So we got to be very careful. This one didn't fall over like AU 200. It's looking more bullish, but we got a WXY, possible X2, and this does come down and break the low. So if you're looking to buy this, I would be putting your buy stop at the break of this top, because in here, this can fall over. This may be bearish in here. And as soon as you get in, it falls over on you and goes and breaks a low. So if you are looking to buy this, just take that into consideration. You do have a bear hidden here. And it is valid to trade that bear hidden. This is becoming quite deep. Sort of got 1, 2, 3 impulses, and then we get a correction. Get another impulse as the flat. And then you get like A, B, C, A, B, C. before you get more upside. If we're looking at like that, I would be looking for the sell. Got 5 up in here, and you really need to go down to the lower time frames. At this stage on the lower time frame, we don't have no bearish divergence, so you could look to scalp it for a buy in here. If you get a correction in here, you could look to the buy. I mean, I can't really go into it too much, or else it's going to take too long on these videos. If you want to join the group and learn how to trade, by all means, I believe it's the most comprehensive course out there on the market. And even for the experienced trader, will learn a lot in my course. I've been trading for over 15 years now, so yeah. The DAX, we got an A, B, C. Definitely not. We haven't been looking for buys for a very long time. We're looking for sells. We've got all that bearish divergence, like I've mentioned, for months and months and months. Any sell setup you get, you want to be looking for the sell. This is looking like it's giving a larger correction. We got an impulse here, correction, impulse. So I dare say we get an A, B, C up. Then if you get a sell set up, it'd be a nice opportunity to get into the sell. We want to get into the sell at the top of the market, and we are at the top. So, if you do trade this pair, and you got this sort of structure as an A, B, C, and then a sell set up, you definitely wouldn't want to miss it, because it could turn very nice for you. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please help the channel out, share, like, subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.